The 2022 NFL season kicks off on Thursday, August 11th, with the New England Patriots hosting the New York Giants. And while some say they won't bet the preseason, many NFL handicapping experts say there's more value betting the preseason than any other sport. The NFL preseason is $249, but you can save $100 by purchasing this package by kickoff of the Hall of Fame game on August 11th. The entire NFL preseason for just $149? Yes, football is back. This offer expires when the Patriots and Giants kick off, and your access begins the moment you sign up, so you will get any early releases the moment they are loaded.
We are live. We are live. Monday, June 27th. WagerTalk Today, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and archived every day, 365 here on WagerTalk TV. I am Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez once again, back in the States. I escaped his studio apartment in Toronto over the week and headed back home. The Prez will be back most likely tomorrow. He'll be returning from Teddy's neck of the woods, Las Vegas. And this is Las Vegas Monday, Teddy, as always, as we've got Marco D'Angelo from Vegas. Teddy covers my co-host, Arthur Dicesare, later on in the show from the Westgate. Can't wait to talk to him about the big get-together in August for WagerTalk.com. And then, of course, in between, going to have Brian Leonard tomorrow on Tuesday. So we got a little Tony Mejia today. So we broke up the Vegas trifecta just a bit and threw in Tony Mejia in the middle. Going to look at a lot of baseball today, obviously, because it's quiet time. But, Teddy, before we get to baseball, football is still lurking around. USFL playoffs this past weekend, and I know you put in a lot of football work this past weekend as well. What did you learn?
Yeah. The NFL win report comes out today, basically after the show. I think it's the release time is scheduled for 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I'll tell you what, it felt like cramming for finals the last couple days. That's the way I do it. I accumulate notes for about a month and a half, and then the last couple of days you're putting all those notes together so that it's coherent for the clients to read, and it takes a fair bit of work. So, one thing that I always did well in school, Steve, I could take a semester and cram it down to 4 days and cram for a final exam and get an A on that exam. And this isn't exactly that, but there is so much NFL stuff bouncing around in the brain this morning. I passed in baseball today. There was no way I was going to be able to shift focus and, all right, let's figure out MLB. The MLB has been pretty good. But today was one day to pass baseball. But what I learned how to cram. And the report, again, available right now for purchase at WagerTalk and or sportsmemo.com. We'll give out one of the plays from that report, a 3-star selection, later in the show when it comes to big game breakdown time. And throughout the course of the week, Steve, I'm going to do my best to give out some NFL opinions that didn't make part one of the report. Some stuff like winning divisions and that sort of thing. We'll do plenty of NFL talk throughout the next 6 weeks before the preseason begins. What about you? What did you learn this weekend?
Yeah, first of all, a preseason first week of August, we have one game. It's a week 1, and then they call it week 2. So there's really just 3 weeks of the preseason versus 4, of course, because we have that extra regular season game. A lot of baseball. We're going to talk baseball throughout the show here with Marco and Tony, Arthur Dicesare. So I'll throw it back to you, Teddy. I'll ask you real quick. I know we're going to have a big game breakdown on an NFL total win. Anything jump out to you maybe that, was a little bit of a surprise this weekend as you're looking things over, something you weren't expecting in the NFL? Obviously, we're playing 17 games now. For me, that makes these season win numbers really tricky. I'm still not adjusted to having those 17 games versus 16 after doing this for 20-plus years. Anything else jump out to you that was a little out of the ordinary?
Well, it's worth noting about that 17th game. When you look at the end of the season, there are going to be a handful of teams that come right down to it, where week 17, whether you win or lose, is going to affect, is going to be the ultimate arbitrator of what your season wins are going to look like. But 26, 27, 28 of the 32 teams is not going to come down to week 17. There's going to be right sides and wrong sides. And my goal, one of the teams I'm going to talk about, I think tomorrow's big game breakdown as a win the division, but I didn't end up playing them over 10 wins because I'm like, 10 wins is the right number. They could win 11. They should win 11, but 10's the right number for this team. So there are certainly teams that are like that out there, Steve. But, I know you were driving yesterday. I was, pulling not full all-nighters, but, half all-nighters each of the last couple of nights. Neither one of us is at 100% for this show. Let's do the best we can to give our viewing audience some good information for betting on a Monday.
Teddy, I'll ask you, I was trying to pull up the Super Bowl line. Have you seen a line? I don't have it in front of me. I'm trying to find one, but just a quick takeaway. One conference looking stronger than the other this year. Deeper, AFC, NFC.
AFC is deeper than NFC for sure. But when you look at the elite teams, there's not a big gap at all between the, in terms of a Super Bowl price. If you're grading out the top 4 teams in the AFC and the top 4 teams in the NFC, you're going to probably come pretty close to a pick'em number for that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm seeing, by the way, AFC minus 1.5, which is what I thought. AFC was a slight favorite. So I'm seeing AFC minus 1.5, 49.5. Fairly low total, in my opinion, for a Super Bowl in the modern era. Obviously, 49.5. I thought that was interesting. It's outside that 50. As obviously, we know the sharps, including Marco D'Angelo, he's a sharp, but they often like to hit the under in these Super Bowls. So it's interesting that the look ahead is 1.5 AFC, 49.5. Marco, I'll bring you in from Las Vegas, Nevada. And not sure if you've done much football work. I know you've been doing some horse work, some poker work. And I've got to ask you, Marco, how did the Prez do? How did you do? I heard some rumors last week you were both in the senior events. You obviously lied about your ages since you're in your low 40s to get into that event. But how did the poker go this past week for you and the Prez?
Well, for the Prez, it went very well. I didn't play the seniors event. Had too many commitments last week. And after, as Joe Ranieri reminds me, my 72nd vacation this year, I had to do some shows. So I couldn't play the seniors event. And played cash, did well with the cash game. But Prez, we got to give him, tip our cap to him. He cashed in the seniors event, made a nice run. I think he went 425 in that one out of over 7,000, and nice cash there. And then he ended up being right on the bubble last night in another big tournament and just missed the money. So a couple deep runs for Prez. The bad news is that he, busted out last night and just missed the money. That was the bad news. But for Teddy and I, the good news is he doesn't have to extend his stay for playing another day. So we're Prez free. Now he's on his way back home to Toronto.
Well, you say the bad news is that the good news. The bottom line is now that Prez made not one but 2. I mean, I'll give him credit. When you're going, you bagged twice. You went the second day long both times. But now we're gonna have to hear about it incessantly, probably forever. So ain't none of this good news for us.
This is true, Teddy. This is true. We already got a preview of how well he's played and how good he is.
Yeah, I was going to say, Teddy, he's out of your town, but he'll be back on the show with you tomorrow. So I guess that's a wash in Teddy Covers world. So we'll see how that plays for him. But yeah, the Prez, I'm sure, will have some poker stories tomorrow. Hopefully Dave Sherapan will be on. It's Tuesday. As always, I can only imagine those two getting together on the show tomorrow. Let's look at some baseball, Marco. Talk a little NFL futures there. Teddy's going to have an NFL play here in the big game breakdown in about 10 minutes. But until then, it's Monday. It's quiet time for the most part. Not a lot of football out there for the next month. And going to look at a little bit of a light baseball card today on Monday. And let's talk about Kansas City and Texas. These are two teams have not had great seasons overall, but for the most part playing pretty good recently. Although Kansas City just lost back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday to the worst team in baseball, the Oakland A's. They had taken 2 out of 3 from them last weekend. Does Kansas City get back on track at home here? Texas has still won 4 of their last 6.
Well, neither team had a good weekend. Like you said, I don't think it can get worse than Kansas City because not only did they lose 2 out of 3 games to the Oakland A's, they gave up 14 runs to the A's in the last 2 games. And I think that might be their June total for Oakland. I mean, this is a team that couldn't score a run. They couldn't buy a run. So that's not a good sign for Kansas City. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and look at Texas. Now, they did lose 2 out of 3 to Washington. Washington, not a great team either, but we don't regard Washington in the same terms that we regard the Oakland A's this year. And I'm looking at 2 pitchers, and you look at the starting pitching here. This is a mismatch, in my opinion. You got Prez going for Texas. He's made 14 starts this year. He's got an ERA of 1.96 and a solid whip of 1.13. You compare that to Chris Bubik for Kansas City, and it's not good. 7.37 ERA in his 9 starts and a whip just under 2 at 1.88. Guys, you can't put 2 guys on base every inning and think things are going to work out for you, and it hasn't. Throw in the fact, as I said, Kansas City didn't have a good weekend pitching-wise, giving up 14 runs in 2 games to Oakland. I think we got to look at Texas here, and I'm going to go ahead and take Texas with Prez. And here is a nice stat on Prez. In his career, after a game where he gave up 1 run or less, he's 18-9, or I should say his team is 18-9 in his next start. And if that game he gave up no earned runs, how about 9-1 in his next outing? That lines up for Texas. And then the Kansas City team, they lost 2 in a row. This is a team that has a tendency to put losing streaks together. And over the last 2 seasons, if they're coming off back-to-back 2 or more consecutive losses, they're just 25-50 in the next game. I'll go ahead and take Texas tonight at a reasonable price, looking at around $1.33. Take Texas for the first play for Monday night.
So the Rangers had a rough offensive weekend, to put it mildly. That 1 for 20 with runners in scoring position over the series at home, which they lost. And the quote from Chris Woodward afterwards, quote, "We've got to do a better job of creating pressure. We're not putting enough traffic out there. We kind of went through this earlier. We've got to be a little more disciplined in the zone and not necessarily swinging at every strike." Do you worry at all? Because Bubic obviously is a guy who throws a lot of junk balls. Do you worry that the Rangers' free swinging lineup is not going to have the type of success against him that some of the more disciplined offensive teams do?
Well, that's always a concern with a team like that. And whenever you get into a pattern where they had a few games that they didn't score any runs, that's always a concern. But not to belabor the point, Oakland came here against this Kansas City pitching staff as cold as you possibly could be as an offensive team. I don't think there was a worse offense in baseball this year. And they just lit them up for 14 runs. That's never a good sign. Now, granted, it's a different starting pitcher, and you look at what he's done this year, there gives me no reason to think that he's going to go deep in this game and you're going to get into an overworked bullpen from the weekend. I'll go ahead and take my shot with Texas. If there's any elixir to cure a slump, it would be a team that just gave up 14 runs in 2 games to Oakland, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they gave up 22 hits in those 2 games on Saturday and Sunday. So the Oakland offense definitely woke up finally after being the worst team record-wise of the season coming into the weekend. And we'll transfer now to one of the best teams in baseball. In fact, coming into this weekend, I did my weekend video here on WagerTalk TV just a bit outside. You can still catch the replay. I actually talked about 5 or 6 series, so some general thoughts I recommend watching still if you missed it this weekend here on the channel. And I mentioned coming into the weekend that the Dodgers still were the favorites, at least at FanDuel, to win the World Series at 4-1. Yankees were actually 4.25-1. So the Dodgers are still in the mix, even though they've been a little mediocre over the past few weeks. They obviously, Marco, had a huge series, World Series or National Championship revenge at Atlanta the past 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, including the Sunday nighter on ESPN. Now they travel basically cross country all the way to Colorado with no rest. I know you well enough, Marco D'Angelo, to know which way you're probably going in this one. This, on the surface, we don't do a lot of situational handicapping in baseball, but this sure definitely looks like a bad situational spot for the Dodgers at Colorado tonight.
Well, I could make this one really short. It's a good thing I brought a bonus play in this one because, Steve, you took my opening 3 paragraphs here on this game, my 3 thoughts. Yeah, the big revenge series. They already played Atlanta earlier in the season in L.A. They took care of revenge there, winning that series. Now they came and did it in front of the Braves fans and said, hey, you might have got us last year, but, you want to repeat. You're going through us this year. And, yeah, it was a big statement, and it was the Sunday night ESPN. And the only thing you didn't throw in there, we always say the negative of playing Sunday night and then traveling. Well, this is not just any travel. Yeah, it's a division game, but you're going to that altitude in Colorado. So if there's going to be any fatigue factor, that's an added concern with the Dodgers, who not only played on Sunday night, but had to go extra frames in winning that game. And I look at it as far as a pitching matchup, you look at Anderson, and yes, for the season, he's pitched good. 2 of his last 3 starts have not been good. And in his last start, full disclosure, I went against him. I lost the play, but he didn't pitch well. And the reason I went against him in that outing is I didn't think he would be a stellar performance, because the game before that, he took that no-hitter into the 9th inning. They tried to get him in the no-hitter, 123 pitch count in that game. And guys, that's one thing that I really like. When you get a pitcher that goes way out of the norm on a high pitch count, trying to get something done, I like to go against them in the next game. That arm's just not going to have the same, velocity and sharpness that he had in that other game. He did give up runs going early in that game, but it was against the Reds, and the Reds, couldn't find a way to win it. And their bullpen was trash in that game, and they ended up losing 8-4 anyways. I'm looking for a high-scoring game tonight, and I'm looking for to take a shot on Colorado because of the situation. And because they're such a big dog, there's 2 ways we can go with this game. Yeah, we can take the big price and get Colorado at around $1.75 is what I feel a live dog tonight. Or because they're such a big dog, it's not often you can get plus 1.5 runs and still get plus money. You can get plus 115 on Colorado tonight at plus 1.5. It gives us a few more options. Obviously, we win the game, we win. We lose by 1, we win. I think they're live here. And the reason I like that 1.5 is because they're not going to have some key pieces available if the Dodgers are ahead late in this game. They used Kimbrel 2 of the 3 games in the series, including 25 pitches last night. The other guy, I'm blanking here for a second, went to all 3 games. He pitched last night, setup guy, and then closed it out, I should say. He pitched 3 days in a row. So it's a spot where I'm going to take the live dog, and I'm going to look at this total. We got a high total of 11.5. And here's 2 stats for the over in this one. Chad Kuhl goes for Colorado. And when he's been an underdog of plus 175 or more the last 2 seasons, 11 times, all 11 games went over the total. And when he pitches against division opponents the last 2 seasons, 9-1 to the over. And then Anderson, who goes for the Dodgers, when he pitches on the road in a night game in his career, 37 times he's done that. 26 of the 37 games have gone over the total. So Colorado plus 1.5 and a wager on over 11.5 as well tonight.
So I guess I have 2 separate issues here that I want to ask you about, Marco. First, there's been a lot of talk about the Rockies home field, and they are playing 500 baseball at home. They started the season 11-5 at home. They're 3-7 in their last 10, 8-14 since that hot start. This is a bad baseball team. Do you really think that home field means something?
Well, it's definitely an edge psychologically for the opposing pitchers that come in here, especially if it's somebody that hasn't, pitched here yet. It's whether it's urban myth or not, you're worried about pitching here. That's one thing that gets in the pitcher's head. And for Colorado, this is more about tonight, Teddy, a 1-game sample size of the bad spot for the Dodgers. Because, yes, if these 2 teams line up and play, 10 games, 20 games, the Dodgers are going to win probably, 7 of the 10 games. But this is that one spot where everything's lining up against them. They're ripe for a letdown off of the Atlanta series. They're, the travel spot, playing in Atlanta, go extra innings, and then travel to Colorado, play in the altitude the next day. All of that is factored into why I'm making this play. And because we're talking about a dog, how many times we have to preach it, we don't have to be 50%, okay? We don't have to be over 50% to make this a long-term winning play. And it's just part of my arsenal that, I don't want to ever say I play something blindly. I got to have some reasons also other than just the situational spot. But to me, this is one of those spots where I feel I'm going to cash a ticket more than 50% of the time, and I'm getting plus money.
And just real quick, Marco, let me give you a second follow because this is an interesting thing to talk about. With the total of 11.5, the plus 1.5 isn't worth as much. Obviously, the plus 1.5 is worth a lot more in a total of 7 than it is in a total of 11.5. Would you split your wager between the plus 1.5 and the Rockies on the money line, or do you think the plus 1.5 is the better play, even with the total this high?
Well, because like I said, with the pitchers that I don't feel will be available to the Dodgers tonight, you've got that spot. Let's say you're up, 7-5 in the ninth inning. You'll sacrifice that run for the out, situation with the Dodgers because it's not going to be key people in there. So I went with the safer route, giving me the insurance policy, but it's an absolute spot on point. We talk about that in the NFL with totals. When you're dealing with an over and under, the lower the total, the more valuable those teasers become when you get to manipulate, the point spread. So yes, you are correct. When you're taking a plus 1.5, we would rather see a game where there's a total of, 7.5 or 8. But you know what? We don't get everything we wish. We got to find the right spots. And going against the Dodgers with a Colorado team that's not an elite team, they're, no question about that. I'll take the insurance policy plus the 1.5 because I'm getting plus money. If this was minus 115, Teddy, I wouldn't do it. Because I'm getting the plus money, I'm taking the plus 1.5. I don't like to take the run lines that often.
Yeah, I actually mentioned 2 different points in the weekend video. Once again, it's archived here on WagerTalk TV, my Just a Bit Outside baseball preview. And I talked about the Dodgers. First of all, 71 games now. They've only won by exactly 1 run 4 times this season. I mentioned it coming in Friday. All 3 games in Atlanta were double-digit wins one way or the other, or 2-run-plus wins Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Braves, of course, got them. So once again, the Dodgers lose. They usually lose outright. If they win, they normally win by 2 runs or more. And that's only 4 times out of 71 games this year have they won by exactly 1 run. And also talked about how you have to look at road stats only if you're trying to compare apples to apples. Colorado, obviously, the extreme example of that. If you look at on-base plus slugging, they're number 1 in baseball at home, number 28 out of 30 on the road this season. So it shows once again what a huge hitting edge that park has and why the total is 11.5. That's Marco D'Angelo. And Marco, I didn't even mention it all show yet. It's $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. My goodness, every best bet, every capper, $9 Monday. And I know you've been on a nice little run, 4% plays and higher, an incredible 79-48 run. Just one of the many reasons to go to WagerTalk.com for $9 Monday. Marco, what you looking at?
Yeah, we've got a game tonight that is my Monday Massacre. It's not one of the 2 games we talked about. I have another pitching matchup that I feel is just a lopsided situation, and I'm going to make the play. And as I said, when we've isolated these 4% and higher plays, they've been money for us lately. We hit 2 of them over the weekend, had a 5% on Saturday, only my second 5% of the month. We cashed that easily. And then yesterday, we got the White Sox a -0.5 a run, first 5 innings, and they got the job done for us yesterday. So get on board tonight. Nice play, and start your week out with $9. And check out all the guys. There's guys that are ton of guys red hot right now at both Wager Talk and Sports Memo, and you just can't beat $9 Monday.
Yeah, it's a great way to build your bankroll because one single 4% play is normally $25. You're getting it for $9. You can get 3 plays for $27. It's like a 3-for-1 special across the board. WagerTalk.com, $9 Monday. Marco D'Angelo. We will catch up with Marco each and every Monday here on Wager Talk Today. And Teddy, that was a little baseball talk, but I know you've got NFL in your head still from this weekend. And give us 30 seconds. We're going to have a big game breakdown. NFL season win, over-under total play from Teddy Covers.
Teddy Covers is 94-44, cashing 68% of his tickets since 2001 with his famed Teddy Covers NFL win totals report, a 20-year track record of success. In addition, Teddy is 15-3, 83% winners with his 5% big ticket plays, cashing with the Chicago Bears under last season as his 5% big ticket best bet. This package includes each NFL season over-under bet with the type of detailed analysis you expect from Teddy, primed to pay dividends all season long. Get on board for the low price of $1.99, or better yet, this report is 100% free for Teddy's full season football combo or NFL seasonal subscribers. Documented over 55% over the last 7 full seasons, counting every play, every day. Get on board with this proven profit producer and cash in.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. And yeah, we're going to talk NFL season wins. Obviously, I'm not going to tweet this out until after the report is officially released at 2 o'clock Eastern time. So basically, you guys watching live, the only people in the world with access to anything that's on my report right now. There are 2 teams last year that faced absolutely brutal schedules that don't face anything comparable to that this year. I played both of those teams over the total. One of them is available for $9 Monday, or in my full NFL season win reports. The other, you get for free right now. This is a 3-star client selection for season wins, and that bet is the New York Giants over 7 wins. You can find it widely available, -110. Sometimes you have to look around and find a -120 for the G-Men over 7 wins, but this is a team primed to win 8 games or more. And again, I want to talk about strength of schedule issues. Last year's strength of schedule for me is not based on the team's final record. It's based on the power rating number that I gave their opponent each week. And based on the powering, how good the teams were when the Giants faced them, this team faced one of the toughest schedules in the NFL last year, consistently running into the wrong team at the wrong time. Based on this year's season win totals, the Giants probably face the single weakest slate of opponents in the NFL. So we're talking about an extreme, one of the toughest schedules to one of the weakest schedules. And you can go on down the line with the Giants. I mean, they've got Detroit and Chicago in the NFC North. They play Houston. They play Jacksonville. They've got step down in class games against Carolina and Seattle. You've got 2 games against Washington. Both Philly and Dallas have their fair share of vulnerabilities. It's not like the step-up games are that tough. Okay, they got Indy, they got Tennessee, they got Minnesota. These aren't elite teams, all right? And again, just about every strength of schedule analysis you're going to see for this year's win total say this squad is extremely weak. And, of course, there's no betting bandwagon for the Giants. Talk about a team with value. 5-0 to the under betting their win totals the last 5 years. They won 3, 5, 4, 6, and 4 games. Last year, they covered only 6 point spreads in 17 games, tied for the fewest in the league. There's no bandwagon for this. There's legit value on the Giants right now. Remember, this team spent like a drunken sailor in the offseason last year, and it was a disaster of a campaign. They've still got a lot of win-now guys. You have a quarterback who has a choice between being good this year and making $100 million or being bad this year and making $1 million as a backup somewhere. I mean, it's a huge season for Daniel Jones. I think he's capable. I like the new coaching staff. And most importantly, the Giants don't have to be good to cash this bet. Mediocre team. If they go 8-9, we win betting the Giants over. They've got 9-win talent. They've got 10-win talent. They've got a 10-win schedule. Take the Giants over 7 wins. There's your big game breakdown. Again, get that full report right now over at WagerTalk and/or sportsmemo.com. Steve?
New York Giants. There is hope in the city of New York. And Teddy also has got a free play on the other New York team. He's got the week 1 game line between the Ravens and Jets on his page free right now. So a lot of NFL info from Teddy covers at WagerTalk.com, including that famous NFL season wins report, a mere 94-44. Teddy's plus 20 years in the industry has shown him how to win with NFL totals. Just gave you a free one right here live on Wager Talk today. And don't forget, we're archived every day here on Wager Talk TV. And check in every day this week, Tuesday through Friday, coming up for more NFL info from Teddy Covers. And that season wins report will be up at 2 p.m. Eastern live at his page, WagerTalk.com. Might want to check it out on $9 Monday. Another guy you might want to check out on $9 Monday is Tony Mejia. He covers multiple sports as well, not just baseball this time of the year. He's known to look at a little soccer, looked at a little NBA draft last Thursday night live here at Joe Ranieri and company, and Tony, we're going to jump into two baseball real quick, 30 seconds. Who do you think the big winner was in the NBA draft last week? Haven't talked to you since last week.
My man, what's going on? Definitely the Detroit Pistons. Fantastic draft. Having Jaden Ivey fall into their lap at number 5 was tremendous. And then they made a trade taking advantage of the Knicks, looking to shed some cap space to make a run at Jalen Brunson. And they end up with Jalen Duren from the University of Memphis, the best big man in the draft, the true center, because we had 3 solid big men at the top of the draft. But Duren is your top 5 in this NBA draft, and they ended up with him. So a really young, talented nucleus that should start making waves this season.
And we talked about it last week, Teddy and I, on Friday with Rob Vino, that the Pacers had a decent draft as well, another central team there. And then, of course, Oklahoma City, a young team. And we have the NBA summer season coming up in Vegas here in the next few weeks. So something to keep an eye on. Pistons, another team that did quite well, according to Tony Mejia, NFL draft expert, NBA draft expert, NFL draft expert also. All right, let's look at some MLB, Tony Mejia. And it is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. Be sure to check out Tony's page there. Let's look at the Miami Marlins. Miami's in a tough division this season right now. The NL East is really heating up. Nationals not doing much, but Braves, Phillies have played well. And, of course, the Mets have been great all season for the most part. Miami kind of chugging along. They're at St. Louis tonight. Lopez, a slight road dog against Wainwright. Adam Wainwright has been there for a decade and a half. He's always been a better home pitcher than on the road, but he is aging. Do you think the Marlins get to Wainwright tonight, Tony?
I do, and I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a C charger today. So I have not had the luxury of really looking at all this stuff the way I wanted to, because I need to go get a C charger right after the show. Riding on battery life right now. But yeah, bottom line, look, in the regard of the Marlins going on the road, they've basically been on the road at home against New York Mets all weekend. New Yorkers were all over Marlins Park in this past weekend series, and they got on track. This is a letdown spot for the Cardinals. Lost 2 out of 3 at home to the Chicago Cubs. And then the pitching matchup is a plus matchup for us if we're riding the underdog fish with Lopez against Wainwright, as you mentioned.
Well, I mean, we talked about how Wainwright is certainly a pitcher who you're much more comfortable backing at Busch than you are on the highway. And that's been the case again this year, where, the last 2 starts where he got hit hard, one was in Milwaukee, one was in Boston. For the season, his ERA at home is better, his strikeout to walk ratio is better, et cetera, et cetera. And he faced this Marlins team once already this year in Miami on the road where he's not as good, and he mowed them down in that ballgame. Didn't make it 6 full. That was early in the season. But only allowed 1 run on 5 hits in 5.2 innings of work. Do you worry at all about Wainwright's success at home and his previous success against Miami?
Yeah, 2-2 with a 2.68 ERA, and I'm even more worried now because you have witchcraft with your follow-up questions, Teddy, getting Dean Kramer to win his first road start the other day when you questioned me on that. So, look, I mean, Wainwright's definitely capable. There's no question about that. But we did see Lopez bounce back from a really rough start against the Mets in Queens. He gave up 7 runs. I believe that was a season high. 6 earned, 8 hits, and then he comes back against the Rockies at home and deals and basically gave up no earned runs, 1 total on 4 hits and 7 innings. So Lopez is one of those guys that you just have to trust, and that's where we're at here. And we're on this as a full game play because the Marlins bullpen has been pretty solid, and you have the Cubs. I believe their last 4 games have been decided by 1 or 2 runs. So I like the fact that the arms should be fresher on the Miami side bullpen wise. So yeah, looking at it right now, they lost 3-0 in that opener. Beyond that, their other 4 games in that 5-game stretch been decided by 2 runs or less. So they've definitely utilized their bullpen of late. Playing against the Brewers and Cubs in key divisional matchups.
Yeah, and our excellent producer, Joe Ranieri, and I talked a lot last summer about Wainwright and how much better he has been at his home during his career. And a lot of times home road stats are kind of misleading, but with a guy like Wainwright, I think he's had 17 seasons. And I think he first pitched in 2006 in Busch Stadium. So he's been in the same park for almost 17 years. So it's a pretty interesting split. And He has been better at home than on the road over the years. But the Marlins, as I said, a little bit of an underrated team. The reason I said that, guys, is because if you look at run differential, they're fourth place, 33 and 38, but they're plus 15 runs. They should be 37 and 34. So I do think there's some upside with the Marlins here. A little bit of an underrated team over the next few weeks. Maybe another underrated team, Tony Mejia, is the LA Angels. This is a team that was 27 and 17 a month ago, and then they decided to lose 14 straight games after leading the division. They went 2 and 18 out of 20. Fired their manager. They lost that first game, but did get a win right after that to snap that 14-game losing streak. And they've been, I guess you could say, been playing decent baseball since. Haven't exactly faced a crusher schedule during that span. They get a little bit of a step up in class at home here against the White Sox, who travel after playing the Orioles this weekend. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely missed Taylor Ward, who was, has a fire early on in the season, and then he went down. I don't think it's a coincidence that they really slumped out of the mix. And then Mike Trout obviously had that 0 for 26 or something that didn't help matters. Now he's going well again, but this is a straight fade to Lucas Giolito, period, tonight. He has been terrible for all of June. His 21 innings pitched, he is at a robust 9 ERA, giving up 7 home runs in 21 innings. So has not been good. Give me Noah Syndergaard. Give me that first 5 because I don't want to play with your bullpens. And we're straight fading Giolito. As Tony Finn said the other day, I think I was talking to him on John Ryan's afternoon show, Manny's Pub, that he sees that Giolito is either hurting or just has nothing right now because mentally he is checked out. And yeah, you can obviously see the results. The White Sox have really struggled. They've lost his last 3 starts.
Getting a little bit of a discount there on the Angels. They're minus 135 for the game, about 130 first 5, but then they get a minus 1.5. Actually get a little bit of plus money now, Tony, plus 105, plus 110 price on Anaheim to lay the half run the first 5 innings from Tony Mejia. And it's once again $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com. Tony, what you got going on for $9 Monday? After you get the C Charger.
When I get that C Charger up, we will have a 4% play. I hit my third 5% play of this season in MLB, so 3-0 on that over the weekend with the Braves. Thank you, Marcelo Zuna. And we're on a 21-6 4% money line run in MLB, so we'll look to add to that tonight on $9 Monday. Again, C Charger pending.
Tony Mejia, check him out. WagerTalk.com, $9 Monday. Thank you, Tony. We'll see you this week. And don't forget, speaking of baseball, we're going to have more baseball every day, Monday through Friday, 1:45 Eastern, right here on the network. MLB First Pitch with Drew Martin and company every day, Monday through Friday, 1:45 Eastern, all summer long. And don't forget, if you miss it live, check it out on replay here on Wager Talk TV or on any podcast app. You can listen to it as well. Let's get back to the Vegas theme. A little East Coast break there with Tony. We're going to get back to Vegas now with Arthur Dicesare from the Westgate in Las Vegas, Nevada. Arthur, batten down the hatches, less than 2 months to go now. August 19th to 21st. Wager Talk Con, Part 2, Numero Dos, headed to town. We'll be at the Westgate on Friday the 19th through Sunday the 21st of August. Arthur, can't wait to catch up with you in person. Welcome to the show. How you been doing?
Oh, fellas, it's a pleasure to be here. Steve, it's good to see you. Obviously, we get a little break from Mr. Prez, which is always nice. But, yeah, man, listen, the Westgate is looking forward to having the Wager Talk family in the building again. Obviously, when you guys were all there for March Madness, it was amazing. So it should be a very good event again in August, and everyone should come out and check it out.
And, again, that's free. There's no, you got to come to Vegas and we're going to charge you. No. You come to town, we'll take care of you. There's going to be, and we got to spend, there's like minimums, right? We got to buy all this food and drink there to make it work out. So there'll be plenty of food, plenty of drink. It's 100% free. And it's a meet and greet. You want to pick anybody's brain. It's a good excuse to come to our fair city. Art, I got to ask you before we start though, it's 105 out and today's your day off. Why? You look like you're like in freezing over there. What's going on?
I got that AC cranked up, Teddy, man. It's the time of the year where you just gotta blow it out. But I got kind of like a little golf shirt on. I'm feeling good, man. Obviously I would not walk outside with this. No way.
Arthur, NHL wrapped up last night. NBA Finals wrapped up since we last talked about a week ago. How was the takeaway overall for the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals for the house?
Yeah, you know what? Both actually ended up being pretty good for us in the futures market. Golden State, we ended up giving some back on the series. Same thing with the Avalanche. We ended up giving some back on the series. The Avalanche, the Warriors not so much, but the Avalanche, one of the favorites, if not the favorite going into the season. So, normally you're not going to lose in the futures on a favorite. So, throughout the playoffs with series prices and things of that nature, we gave some back. But, if Tampa would have won the Cup overall, it would have been a loss for us in the futures market. Not so much with Colorado. So good result, despite giving some the Avalanche series price.
So the Avalanche ended up being a positive result for the Westgate Superbook. Art Dicesare, of course, a risk management star over at the Westgate. When it comes to risk management, certainly the NFL is king in that regard, Art. My season win report, NFL season win report part 1 at least comes out this morning, a little bit later, or this afternoon back east, in a little over an hour from now. Talk to me about where you've seen the early sharp money come when it comes to these NFL season wins. Who do the wise guys like, and who do the wise guys not like? Anything clear that stands out early?
One I'll throw to you, and it's actually in a division that you had talked about with the Giants. By the way, love to hear that you like the Giants over as a Giants fan. That's always nice to hear. Eagles. Eagles has been a popular play. People have liked to take the Eagles over. Now, we are dealing the Eagles at a 9, but when you're taking the Eagles now, too, you're also, let me just make sure I get it right. You know what? I'm sorry. We actually have a 9.5 now. So it was 9. It's actually moved up to 9.5. So the Eagles have been like the big mover since the A.J. Brown trade, since the good draft they've had. And even with the 9.5 now, minus 120 to the over. So a lot of Eagles love you've seen. So Eagles have been very popular. And, one that I've seen that has been a popular under is the Seahawks under 6. Obviously, they get rid of Russell Wilson. They're in a tough division, probably in a absolute rebuild. Who knows who their quarterback is? I mean, maybe they can make a Baker Mayfield move. I guess that's still in play. But people have been happy to take under Seattle 6, paying the minus 120 on the under there.
Yeah, I would say just a quick takeaway.
I just sent Steve that I was going to. I'm like, Steve, you go, and then you said something that gave me a spark. The follow-up question: what are you doing with teams? I mean, it sounds like there's 3 teams in particular. Okay, what's going to happen? How long the Watson suspension is going to be for Cleveland, and then you have Carolina and Seattle that, in theory, are in play for whether it's Jimmy G or one of the other, better Jimmy G or Baker Mayfield, the 2 veteran starting QBs available. Those 3 teams in particular, you having issues? Are you booking them? Are you not booking them? How are you doing with the quarterback uncertainty for those 3 squads?
Well, the Cleveland uncertainty has made us take their team total off the board. It's just there's no other way around it. Now, we've kept most other things up, Super Bowl, division. I know we had talked, Teddy, when I was on your show a couple of weeks ago. We still have week 1 up for Cleveland as far as just like a week 1 game when they actually, are in week 1 and actually go play Carolina. But team total's got to be off the board because of the quarterback situation. Everyone else is on the board. Carolina's still sitting there at 6, minus 120 to the under. Like Seattle, we talked about, same number. But, yeah, we can't deal a Cleveland total with the Watson situation because is it 6 games? Is it the whole season? Like, we just don't know. Until we get that news, we'll put the Cleveland total back up there.
Yeah, I think once again that shows why the NFL season wins are where you want to focus as far as beating the books, as far as future bets go. They're not afraid to have the division and the Super Bowl odds up there still, but those season win totals are very dicey. So once again, that's where the value is, and that's why Teddy Covers has gone 94-44 with that season win report over the years. Arthur, let's switch over. And by the way, quick takeaway on those teams. We talk about Eagles, Giants, and then, of course, the Cowboys are in that division. The Washington Commanders might be a long season for the Commanders, who have a lot of distractions on and off the field as well in that NFC East, which might no longer be the NFC least. Let's talk about baseball, though. We'll get a little bit of actionable info for the last couple minutes we got with Art Dicesare from the Westgate in Las Vegas. Be sure to check him out in person on a daily basis And then check all of us out on August 19th to 21st for the meet and greet, the Wager Talk meet and greet at the Westgate coming up. More info in the next month or so, next few weeks here on the site and on Twitter at Wager Talk on Twitter. Art Dice 21 on Twitter is a great follow as well. Futures, I want to get some actual info from you, Art, but we've been talking a lot of futures with the NFL, and I mentioned earlier that a lot of books have the Dodgers as a slight World Series favorite over the Yankees still. I'm not sure where the Westgate stands. And also, do you all have any liability? I know you get a ton of LA money, so I'm sure you got the Dodgers up there. Do you have any liability right now in the MLB futures? And any games catch your eye for Monday?
You know, as far as the World Series go, we actually have the Yankees as the favorite now. We have the Yankees 4-1, Dodgers 5-1. Astros right behind them. You know, Astros, obviously they had a big series with the Yankees that they split a 4-game set. Astros, it's funny, they don't get a lot of love. I don't think a lot of people realize how great of a season they've had because how great the Yankees have been. But then the Astros are right there at 6-1. You know, the Dodgers, there's really no liability on the Dodgers. Once again, that's a team that opens like 2.5, 3-1. I know we get a lot of Dodger bet and a Dodger money that comes in, but there's no liability on the Dodgers. There's really not. You know, teams a little bit further down the board, like the Padres, the Cardinals, those type of teams you're going to have some liability on. And the thing that actually we saw this weekend was a guy came in, I want to say it was after the no-hitter, and put a big significant bet down on the Astros to win the pennant. That moved from plus 350 to under $3 to plus 280. So we're actually starting to see a little bit of liability on the Astros to win the AL.
Say anything jump out to you on Monday? It's always a little bit of a light card on Mondays. Travel day. We talked about the bad spot for the Dodgers. Maybe not in Coors Field, having to travel off the Atlanta series. Anything jump out to you? Any actual info for Monday night?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple. You know, like Tony Mejia jumped on the game, the Miami game. You know, the Marlins have been a very sharp play for bettors all season. They love to take Lopez. They love to take Alcantara when he pitches. Marlins kind of an underrated team. Obviously, they're built on their pitching. So we opened the Cardinals minus 135, now minus 126, almost a 10-cent move. That obviously that sharp money that's come in on Miami. It's all about Lopez. And then people have pounded that, Red Sox Blue Jays over. And not that it's a crazy move, but it went from 9 to 9.5. Blue Jays have been a over machine in their last 10 games. I think 8 or 9 have gone over. And, you know, both those teams are in the top 5 in slugging and batting average and all the type of things that you want to see. So that AL East matchup, you've seen over money come in on that, and that's been public money. So the 9 to the 9.5 on Red Sox Blue Jays.
And 9, of course, a key number with totals. 7 to 9, probably the two most key numbers in baseball because 9 to 9.5 is a critical move to the over there in that AL East game. And that's Art Dicesare, Westgate in Las Vegas. And Art Dice 21 is a great Twitter follow. I recommend highly you check him out. And Art, I know when you're not off on Mondays, you're at the Westgate Superbook. So let people know what they can find when they come in and say hi to you.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, this is the time of the year to get down there. You know, we're going to have all the NFL stuff you want up. You know, get your app going, get all the sheets. We have everything out there. We have weeks 1 through 18, lines, divisions, win totals, win MVP, coach of the year, rookie of the year. And as always, if you come down to the Westgate, you want to come say hi, you ask for me, I'll pop out from the back, I'll say hi, I'll help you with anything you need. You just come down to the Westgate and ask for Arthur Dicesare, and I'll help you out.
And when you talk to Art, make sure you mention that you saw him first on Wager Talk Today on Wager Talk TV. And look forward to seeing you in person in August. Art, we'll catch up soon here during the summer. I'll be filling in for the Prez on his poker adventures and other travel adventures over the next few weeks. So every Monday, Arthur Dicesare, Westgate Superbook in Las Vegas. And once again, Wager Talk Con Part 2. If you missed it in March, you get another chance here, a bigger and better version, August 19th to the 21st at the Westgate. More info to come over the next few weeks. Teddy, almost about an hour to go. T-minus 70 minutes till countdown. NFL season wins report at WagerTalk.com. Teddy covers. Might want to check it out on $9 Monday. It's a great time to check out all cappers at WagerTalk.com because it is $9 Monday. Substantial discount on all best bets right now. Every play, $9 Monday. Build that bankroll. Start your week right. Thanks once again to Art Dicesare at the Westgate, Tony Mejia, and Marco D'Angelo. And Teddy, the Prez is scheduled to be back tomorrow on Tuesday. I'm going to make a guest appearance, I believe, Wednesday, and then I'm going to fill in July 1st, the start of the month on Friday. Bastille Day, whatever it is, Canada Day, I guess. So I'll see you Wednesday and Friday here in the near future. Take us home.
Yeah. Bastille Day, July 14th, though. You can't mix that up.
There we go.
It's one of those. Vive la Revolution.
Canada
That's
Day.
going to wrap it for the Monday edition of Wager Talk Today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us here on Wager Talk TV. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same channel. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck with your bets.
Teddy Covers is 94-44, cashing 68% of his tickets since 2001 with his famed Teddy Covers NFL win totals report, a 20-year track record of success. In addition, Teddy is 15-3, 83% winners with his 5% big ticket plays, cashing with the Chicago Bears under last season as his 5% big ticket best bet. This package includes each NFL season over-under bet with the type of detailed analysis you expect from Teddy, primed to pay dividends all season long. Get on board for the low price of $1.99, or better yet, the support is 100% free for Teddy's full season football combo or NFL seasonal subscribers. Documented over 55% over the last 7 full seasons, counting every play, every day. Get on board with this proven profit producer and cash in.